have to, we wanted to not use. That HR action, which I learned after the fact, that HR action is pro forma. So, in the sense that it already happened. So we were basically validating the decision.
Why did you do that?
What?
Why did you do that?
I think I would have had more discussions about it. You know, employee contracts are difficult. There's always, you know, to terminate a contract, that's a big decision that the board itself cannot make unless there's a majority of the board, right? So, but that's the honest answer. So that June vote, when the batch of contracts come up, that is basically affirming. It's an affirmation. It's not a deliberation and decision.
What would have happened if you had voted no? The majority of the board.
That would have been that. It would have gone there. It would not have. It would have been a different decision. Well, then they would have to exercise the. My understanding is they'd have to exercise whatever termination clauses.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so that would actually work to get the renewal of contracts. Right. That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, I'm not trying to fence. I'm just telling you what. Yeah, like
Yeah, so you
how
just voted no.
if a majority of us voted no, I would.
Contracts would not have been renewed.
Well, it
would-
probably would have opened us up to, it
Right.
could have opened us up to litigation.
There's sections which allow the
Probably would
employer.
have.
Right. Well, yeah. So there's sections, just like any employment contract, like with an employer. If an employer decides to terminate a contract, the employer can make that choice. And so if we would, I guess if we would have voted.
Why are you guys so scared of litigation? Because you don't seem to be scared of litigation on cease and desist letters. You can send those out right away to people. But you're scared of litigation with employees. This is ridiculous.
I think those.
And then that reason is makes no sense to me. You should be able to stand up and say, you know what, you need to be fired. You need to not have a contract. That's what I believe. And if that's what you believe, then you go for it. So where's the backbone with you guys? Huh?
I mean, it's, I think I can understand why it feels that way from your position of things, because I probably would have some of those
You
others too.
have
But
absolute reason to sit there. You've got all the.
Well, it actually doesn't matter that she was terminated.
An administrator to call against the employer to complain about that. And yet, you still did renew those contracts.
Yes.
That's just interesting to me, because we can all agree that that happened.
I mean, one more person, you're the majority, right? So,
Well, but I guess everyone had to decide too, they may have violated what they did, is that a fireable offense? I mean, that would be the decision.
I'd be fired if I did that. I know that. I mean, I think that's.
Yeah. Well, it's. So we also can't.
The thing that I want to bring up is the fact that Debbie Feigeman reached down through layers and layers and layers of bureaucracy to a teacher that didn't have her tenure yet. Tell me how that isn't intimidating to that teacher. Oh, I just want to protect her. That's
Actually, teachers at all levels all the time, and we wouldn't want the administration. We wouldn't want to chill that. Like I would like it if the superintendent called the newest teachers, the 70, and said, "How are things going?" We wouldn't want to chill that, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah, right. We would want to say like you can only speak like one level down, and this isn't the military. But
I know that. I know it's not the military, but it's a significant reach down. Significant.
You're talking, I was hearing you talking about, we can't really do anything unless it's the majority of the board. Do you still vote how you personally think though, even if you know that the majority of the board will not vote a particular way? Or do you vote according to how you think the majority of the board is going to vote?
I'm gonna vote the way I feel, and if I don't agree, and it gets me in trouble with whoever I'm on board or whoever else, then I'm gonna do that.
How about you, Jessica?
the same, absolutely the same.
Yeah.
Probably if the board leadership knew that, there's not gonna be a majority vote ahead of time, then maybe there would be a conversation about that, and
Where would these conversations take place?
So there would have to be.
It's not this stuff, yeah, the Open Meetings Act
My
doesn't.
understanding is
Well,
that
the
all
board-
of the board
Well, if there's
decisions
a
need to
quorum.
be, that's why it needs to be.
When there's a
in public
quorum, but the
meetings.
board
You're not
leadership can
talking
talk to
about-
other board members about issues.
Right,
And
so a lot of things don't make it to, and this is by the way, any public board. A lot of, that's why they have committees to have, make recommendations to the
Or
board to
just
take action.
individuals talking.
Yeah, right, so,
It
there's,
just, it doesn't look transparent, I guess, from our perspective.
it does, you know, it does.
We don't know who sits on those committees, we don't know who's making those recommendations, and then you all get out there and vote unanimously, and from our perspective, it doesn't look good.
Why don't we have the committees, like who's on committees, public?
Is that not public?
It's not, I know
Which
for a
committees
fact,
are you wondering?
I know for a fact it's not public because I FOIA'd for that information because it's not available, and then I've been denied FOIA requests for it, so.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
I
seems
guess I didn't
like
know
it's
that,
public.
I don't know whether it would be, that, I mean, we can ask that, but is there a committee you're wondering about?
Like the superintendent's policy and curriculum committee.
That was trustee Ines, trustee Bull, and trustee Muska.
Just those. Well, there's
Yeah.
other
There's
people
only
besides
three.
board members on the
There's
committee, right?
administrators.
No, it's because it's really, you know, they're really only called at the superintendent's request to provide an update. So.
So the committee's three, and then
There's
whoever,
only three in the committee, there aren't other people
right,
involved at all.
right, because it's a committee of the, it's
Well,
kind
like
of
the
a committee.
superintendent is usually there, and then whoever would be bringing some information, so it's not a set group.
Operations committee, and that's me, you, the three of us actually, yeah. So that, we discuss the budget, they bring up, Mr. McDaniel will run through, like, budget, you know, the budget's updated. So, yeah, so those are the.
Any budget issues.
And deciding how you're gonna allocate the money.
So most of the work is done by
Yeah.
the business office. And then, they'll present their ideas, and like in our committee, we could potentially say things like, you know, we'd like you to look into X, you know what I mean? And
Or ask questions
Or ask
about
questions
things that
about
don't make
how
sense
do you
to us.
allocate.
So who made the decision on not getting the playground fixed at North Hill, but making sure that the whole entire $13 million new administration building is tip-top and all set? Because those kids are coming to school next week, and they have nowhere to play, and there's nothing but a fence around it.
I'm
And
excited.
It was in the board report that we had this week, and the update was that had to do with the contractor doing the work had promised to have that in time, but then just wasn't able to come up with that,
So it's been appropriated.
Yeah, it's done appropriately, it just hasn't been installed.
So then why isn't somebody going back and saying, according to the terms of this contract?
They are.
What is the portion that we have in our bylaws that covers what Joe is suggesting with the anti-retaliation policy? Do we know what it is in the bylaws that already covers that? Because I know that it was redundant. from
I
the
could
last
chime in here because I FOIA'd that, and I was denied it. Actually, no, I wasn't denied. They sent me a link to every policy in the district.
That doesn't make
And then when I
sense.
appealed my FOIA to the superintendent, they denied the appeal because they said they already granted my FOIA.
Wow.
So just to answer your question, and,
Can I ask
the,
a question?
Yeah.
Did the policy actually exist, or was it just a recommendation?
I drafted something. But it's good. So, the anti-retaliation policy, it follows, the thing I drafted follows the First Amendment. So we don't need a policy. The forefathers put the First Amendment in. Right. So there's,
Whoa, why didn't they answer your FOIA request and you wrote it?
well, I mean, you would have the FOIA James Madison. I mean, he wrote it. So.
But they answered your FOIA request by showing the board bylaws, they didn't.
It was not, there's no document in place. It was like, it was something I prepared, you know, like, it wasn't, no, there's no official document.
So was it just?
Yeah, it's not an official district
So
document.
was it just for like show then? that you
Well, no,
made that
I mean,
recommendation,
if I'm gonna
or
make a
was it-
proposal, you know what, I'll give it to you.
I FOIA'd it, don't worry.
But it's fine. Yeah.
And I'm curious, like, what the board's stance is about that class and why the board hasn't responded to the public about advanced language arts. Like, there was quite a bit
I wasn't on the, I don't know the history there, so I'm gonna go with that. But,
Well, you were on the board though when we were going through all of that.
I don't think so. I think by then it had already been removed from the curriculum. All I had heard was the content there, which was why was it removed.
Did you ask the administrators? I mean, I was speaking at board meetings.
I remember, that was, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I don't remember that. I mean, I remember having discussions about this. So
Yeah, I think there, from what I remember them saying, is that there are concerns about putting kids into, quote, a track that early.
Yeah.
I can speak to the advanced language arts in middle school because I taught AP language and also taught language arts at the high school. And a lot of the research shows that separating the kids in middle school before some of the, when their maturity levels are so different, you end up taking kids who have the potential to be advanced later on and kind of setting them on a course to never do that. There's also a lot of research that says everybody benefits from a more mixed ability language arts class because you can differentiate the curriculum, you can differentiate the book choices, and that those high level discussions that you're talking about, those sparky discussions where you've got kids saying really deep, interesting things, the lower level kids sometimes miss out on that. So there's actually a lot of back and forth. And I don't want to debate it, that's just what the research says, and I know that's what
There's
the
been a lot of
discussions
research on both sides.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much as I've read up, and I know you're.
Well, as a language arts specialist, that's what my training and my professional development and my experiences have taught me. I had training in reading language arts.
Well, there's these things people, we'll say to ourselves, well, why would you give that this class? And then right away my brain goes, I don't know, what? Yeah. But then I hear from the experts who go, there's 12 reasons, or the universities have shown, or we're really looking at the way we do public school education. Because it has.
I can say that I fought to get my child into the advanced language arts as a sixth grader, and he was recommended not to, and he's had a brilliant language arts career. And
Isn't it true that you can jump into language art, like advanced language arts at any year?
that is true.
Right. Is it easier to differentiate in a classroom with a narrower range of abilities or a much wider range of abilities?
That's a really good question, and I think that, I don't know if it really feels like differentiation, it's just not a wide range, I guess.
That's an interesting answer.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it is easier when they're closer together. You don't have to look for as many texts. And as a person who taught a class that had everything from, kids who were headed to Harvard to kids who were reading several levels below grade level, I put a lot of work in the searching for those texts. So they're
Who was labeled gifted and talented in one district. I moved to Troy and was labeled for remedial education in a different district. So I guess it would depend on how a district takes you. But I can tell you that segregated education and banned censored education did not work for me. From actually they did not have kindergarten in my school district. From first through sophomore year in high school, it did me no good as a student at all. And I had to move out of state to find out a lot of book titles even existed. And the ones we did find out were banned, we had to have siblings drive to another state and another city to buy those books for us because they weren't even available to buy in a store in our state. Well,